How's it going, guys? It's your boy Nicky D here, and welcome back to the channel. So, back at it again with Ace Attorney, Elements of Justice, case number 3, episode 4, Transpositional. So, where we left off, just more so just like filling in a few small blanks. Rainbow Dash's trial was about to start. Apollo and Applejack were searching around Manhattan, looking for additional clues, along with Spike and kind of Sweetabelle. And that was pretty much the rundown, but like after the episode we learned that Cruise Control may have a part in all of this, and he was friends with Overall Concept. So I'd imagine we're going to pick up right where we left off there. And we're going to get into the episode in just one second. I just want to say I apologize for the lack of videos lately. It seems like the only time I can really get around to these is like when Elements of Justice pops up. It's just a whole thing with my creative flow at the moment. I'll give more details about that later. Plus, like trying to like rework some stuff with my Rap Idol project mixtape, and I'll give you some details about that too. And I would have done this video sooner, but when this episode aired, I was in the middle of a voice acting session with some people for a video game mod, and I'll give you guys some details about that at another time. But for now, you got ponies and attorneys to take care of. So let's make like Philip DeFranco and just jump right into it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. I also got my coffee today.
Some pony once told me that to secure a guilty verdict, the prosecution must be able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt the means, motive, and causation of the accused. The defense, conversely, needs to show there is doubt for at least one of those things. But some pony else once said that ponies and ideas aren't usually that simple, that what you initially think of them isn't always right. What I've realized is that a defense attorney has to see that both sayings are true in some way. You need to be able to consider both sides in order to discern the truth. If you don't, then you may end up on the wrong side of the scales.
Prosecutor Trixie.
Oh, okay.
I presume you are
we're going
ready to
back
call
to
upon your first witness?
Overall Concepts trial.
Trixie is, Your Honor.
I wonder who it could be. Probably the detective in charge of the investigation, if I had to guess.
Oh, hello, Private Eye.
Huh. I know a few members of the police already, but I don't think I've ever seen this pony before.
Witness, why don't you go ahead and tell us who you are?
Of course. My name is Private Eye.
They're watching
detective
you.
And the lead investigator for this case.
They see your
So we have a prodigy on the
move.
defense and a prodigy on the witness stand. Quite the colorful and talented cast we have collected.
Prodigy?
Now,
So
as
this is,
I
I
understand
guess,
it, your position
Concepts
is a recent
first
one, correct?
case.
That is correct, my lady. How did you know?
Ah, your mentor and I have been acquaintances, if not occasionally friends, for quite some time. He's told me about you ever since he took you under his tutelage.
Tutelage?
He's
That's an
quite
interesting
proud of
word,
your
tutelage.
skills,
I'm
and
learning
thinks
so
that
many
with
new
enough
vocabulary
time,
words
you'll
through this
become
series.
a
Who would have
great
guessed?
detective yourself.
Is that so? Well, I must be sure to thank him. And
I'll turn the volume down
I
a little.
hope to live up to that praise today in court.
I am more than certain you will, Detective Private Eye.
If this mentor is who I think it is, then no doubt Private Eye will be a formidable witness. Which means I can't afford to let up for even a second. Overall's counting on me. I won't let him down.
Now then, witness, would you care to explain how only the defendant and the defendant alone could have killed the victim?
He's
Right
on trial
away,
for
Miss
murder.
Trixie.
Okay, I don't think that was
Both
established.
the defendant, Mr. Concept, and victim, Miss Estella.
Oh
the same
shoot! So
shift
Estella's
pattern.
dead?
In fact, on the night in question, they were the only ones working that particular shift pattern. Both of them were working together on a new design for an upcoming play, you see. It has been confirmed through questioning members of Bridalway that Estella was seen heading outside at 2 minutes past 10 that night. Both she and Overall were supposed to be on break by 10 o'clock, but Overall continued working until 1:15. Only then did he take a break. Now, with both of them being the only ones taking a break at that time, well, that speaks for itself.
There you have it, Defense. The good detective has confirmed it. Mr. Concept is the only one who could have committed the murder that night.
I heard him just fine, Prosecutor Trixie. That doesn't mean I wholeheartedly accept the idea.
No, Trixie supposes you wouldn't. And Trixie
have to
supposes
cast doubt
you
on that.
intend to fight back against it?
That is indeed in the job description.
Stubborn. Trixie would be surprised if it wasn't so on brand for defense attorneys to...
Yeah, whoever's playing Trixie is doing a good.
But
Whoever's playing
are
Trixie,
you sure
good job.
that such
Oh my gosh.
behavior is becoming of a practitioner of law?
Huh?
Ditto, huh?
There is something my mentor once said that I think applies readily to this moment. The police, the prosecution, the defense, the courtroom, all of us are instruments of the legal system. We work to obey the letter, if not the spirit of the law, both in the ones we fulfill and how we conduct ourselves under them. Wouldn't it be best for you to conduct yourself accordingly?
You know it's not exactly smart for a detective to lecture the prosecution, right?
We have but one life, Miss Trixie. I believe we must always be true to ourselves.
The detective raises a fair point. Prosecutor Trixie, I would ask that you refrain from taunting as much as possible.
Ahem. Trixie will take what you have said into consideration and cease taunting the defense. For now.
I like this Detective Private Eye character.
Yeah, if only he wasn't a corrupt
If we're
cop.
getting back on topic, is this all you wanted the witness to say?
Oh no, Trixie's witness has prepared a whole testimony on the victim's death. One that will ensure there is no room for doubt that the defendant is, in fact, guilty. Witness, are you ready?
Certainly, Miss Trixie. I'll give it my all.
I wonder if we're just going to stick around with this whole debacle for the whole episode. Perfectly fine if it is.
While on her break, Estella exited the building through the back door and went into the alleyway behind the theater. Once she was outside, the victim was attacked from the front with a blunt instrument, which we found nearby. The weapon was a walking stick. It's old but very durable.
Ooh.
It was likely used in an old production and was recently thrown away. Our analysis
blood on that.
concluded the victim was hit at least 3 or 4 times,
Ooh.
forcing her to the ground. She died not from the trauma, but from blood loss.
Oh. Oh, that poor pony. Dude.
A very concise testimony, Detective. Well done.
Witness, do you have the autopsy report?
Of course. I have it right here.
TOD, okay, hang on, I want to read this really quick. TOD estimated between, so time of death estimated between 10:15, 10:45. Victim suffered blunt force trauma to a spot on the front of her head, but died from blood loss. Okay, so there was trauma. Well, of course there would be trauma on the front of the head, but the amount of blood, jeez.
What an awful thing. She must have suffered greatly, slowly bleeding to death alone like that.
Yes.
Indeed. I could never imagine the overwhelming agony she must have been in. I suppose there may be some solace in the fact that she is no longer in pain.
Poor Mr. Concept. It must be a unique kind of hurt to hear us talk about Stella this way. I'd better get us to move away from that topic for now.
Yeah.
Let's return to the matter at Hoof. I have to ask, on what grounds was the defendant arrested?
Oh, that's easy. We found his hoof prints on the weapon.
Oh, boy.
I see. I'm assuming there was an arrest report.
But of course, here it is. Overall was caught red-hooved between the back door of the building and the victim at 10:30 p.m. Not literally red-hooved, of course, but he may as well have been. Would you like Trixie to add this to the court record?
Do I have a choice?
No.
We're always Okay.
Thank you for that, Prosecutor Trixie. Now then, defense, you may conduct your cross-examination.
Oh, I definitely plan on doing more than just conducting it. I'll pry this testimony apart.
Stunt on these hoes. Stunt on these hoes. Sonata. Blanked out the name for a second. Stella.
While on her break, Estella exited the building through the back door and went into the alleyway behind the theater.
Hold it! I'm assuming it's normal to exit the building via the back door?
Oh, very much so. For those working at the theater, anyway. The same couldn't really be said for a citizen just deciding to enter the theater through the back door.
That goes beyond normal and straight into criminal territory. What about her deciding to head into the alleyway, though? Doesn't that seem odd?
I'm quite certain she simply needed some fresh air. During my investigation, I've heard repeated claims of the director being somewhat hard to work for.
That definitely lines up with what I've heard.
I had a diagram made of the crime scene, if you'd like to see it in detail.
I would. Thank you, Detective.
As you can see, everything we deem relevant has been included.
Yes.
So killed by a
it's all
dumpster.
there.
Jesus.
They even color-coded certain points of interest.
Trixie guesses you'll want this added to the court record, too.
Just get on with it.
Hey, Trixie was being sincere that time.
Allow me to add this diagram of the crime scene for us all.
Alright, so... Whacked
Detective,
by the
please
dumpster.
continue with your testimony.
Not too far away from the back door of the theater. Hit
Once she was
like 3 or 4
outside,
times.
The victim was attacked from the front with a blunt instrument, which we found nearby.
So...
Hold it!
It doesn't show it
How
on the
did you
diagram.
determine the attack came from the front?
The location of the wound tells us such.
Right.
It was on the left side of the victim's head, near
Okay.
the cranium. This
Like right
means the
about
attacker
here.
swung from their right. The impression also has a distinctive angle that suggests a sharp and angular attack with the weapon from the front.
Sharp and angular? Could you be a bit more specific?
More specific. Ah, have you ever played hoofball? Forgive me, I don't believe I actually got your name.
It's Sonata. I have a feeling we're going to be seeing each other a lot, Detective. But to answer your question, no, I never really was interested in going to big sports games like that. I did enjoy the school choir, though. Listening to them, anyway.
It wasn't my preferred sport either. I took a particular liking to fencing. However, I knew a few coaches.
Y'all ready for some hoofball?
Back in my school days. They had all sorts of names for the types of swings you'd see in a game. One of them was, rather fittingly, called the chop. Most professionals wouldn't perform it, but the occasional rookie would, if they weren't properly trained. The attack, then, I would describe it much like that. A downward angled
So
chop
like a...
towards the victim.
Witness.
So wait, Han. So if playing hoofball, so like a downward angular attack, hoofball, are they talking about like? Nowhere they're playing like soccer, right? It can't be soccer. Like unless they're saying like how a hoof is going at like an angle like that, the stick went the same angle. Maybe that's it. Because I'm thinking in my head like, but they used to stick though. So are they talking about like lacrosse? Is lacrosse hoofball in this world? That like I'm trying to make sense of it. I'm thinking though it's probably not lacrosse though. I'm thinking it's more so like soccer, but like a pony would just go with a hoof, you know?
That this chop is something that rookies would perform. What about first-time murderers?
Now hang on a minute.
Ah, yes. Let Trixie rephrase. Detective, if you were to attack some pony quickly, without much forethought, and if you had such a weapon as described, what would be the easiest way to attack?
Probably just as I had described. No pony at all skilled in the art, if you'll pardon the expression, would do it. However, if one was desperate or panicking.
Thank you, witness. You may continue your testimony.
The weapon was a walking stick. It's old, but very durable. It was likely used in an old production, and was recently thrown away.
Hold it! How did you conclude the stick was the murder weapon?
We found some blood on the stick. When we tested it, it matched the victim's blood. Moreover, the impression left matched that of the stick itself. My team and I also found this stick in the nearby dumpster, so it's quite likely that the murderer picked it out of there prior to
Oh,
the
okay,
attack.
so
Also,
that's why we don't see
as
the
Miss
stick
Trixie
on the
pointed
diagram.
out, we found the defendant's hoof prints on the stick in question.
The stick was found in the dumpster after it had been used?
Presumably.
That seems rather strange. Wouldn't it make sense for the murderer to dispose of it?
That's what I'm
More
thinking too.
carefully, I
More
mean.
carefully, yeah. Because
That
like,
was something.
because like, not saying I would. I'm just putting that out there. Not saying I would, but if I whacked somebody, okay, I'd be more careful with where the weapon of choice would be put. Like to just leave the weapon in question right by the body, where my fingerprints would be on said weapon. That's careless. I've seen enough crime shows and movies. I've watched The Sopranos. I've seen how people hide their tracks. I'm not making a good case for myself, aren't I? Point is, if you have a weapon that you hurt somebody with or killed somebody with, you don't want it near the body. You want to get rid of it in any way, shape, or form. Throw it in a river. Throw like break it down and like throw each part like 50 miles away from each other or something like that. You know. So what does Private Eye have to say about that then?
Nothing of a bother at first, but the leading theory is that this crime was not premeditated. It's possible
Okay.
that the defendant and the victim were arguing next to the dumpster, as indicated by the location of the body. Then, the defendant simply grabbed what was available. He attacked, but the shock of what he did, it must have frozen him to the spot, leading, incidentally, to his arrest. The most he could muster was tossing the murder weapon back into the dumpster. Nothing more.
So overall froze up for that long after presumably attacking Estella? What nonsense. But sadly, I don't have anything
Yeah.
on Hoof that could suggest
Yeah, like how can
otherwise.
you disprove that? You can't
Trixie
disprove
can
it
see you
at all.
turning your gears over and over, Defense. You're trying to make sense of this.
Seriously, who is playing Trixie? They're doing so
Crimes
good.
and passion rarely fit into a logical chain of events.
Your point is noted, Prosecutor Trixie. Detective, please continue your testimony.
Our analysis concluded the victim was hit at least 3 or 4 times, forcing her to the ground. She died not from the trauma, but from blood loss.
Hold it! How long did it take the victim to bleed out before she died?
I can't say. That information was beyond the ability of our analysis to acquire. We could only estimate her time of death. However, we do know the fact that she bled out shows that she died some amount of time after the disturbance report was made.
A disturbance report? What disturbance report?
Oh, dear. Have you not received a copy, Miss Sonotta?
No, this is my first time hearing of it. What was it about?
Ah, yes. A shining example of Equestria's consideration for one another. Some pony did their civic duty and reported suspicious screaming nearby.
If no pony minds, may I take a closer look?
By all means. Prosecutor Trixie, if you would, please.
Very well, if Trixie must. It won't change anything, though.
Indicates screaming on the night of the murder. It was made at 10:12. Okay, so the
It's pretty.
estimated time of death was between 10:15 and 10:45. So she either was bleeding out for 3 minutes and died, or bled out for 33 minutes and died, or something in between. That's rough, buddy. That is rough.
Definitive, if Trixie does say herself. Trixie appreciates having such a reliable citizen, making her job a little easier.
This might be the chance I need. I'll have to confront it directly, though. Detective I, may I request you append a new comment to your testimony regarding this disturbance report?
You most certainly may, Miss Sonotta. I'll do so right away. This disturbance report from a third party confirms that everything we've established is sound and valid.
Objection!
So what's the objection point here, then?
I'm sorry, but I'm afraid that is simply not the case.
Trixie fails to see how that simply isn't. How exactly?
Who's being the impatient one now? If Prosecutor Trixie would wait a moment, she may
Ooh.
learn a thing or two.
That music, though.
What is this? You're rubber and I'm glue?
Miss Trixie, there's no need for this hostility. Miss Sonata hasn't even explained her reasoning.
It's called banter, Detective. Perhaps you should take a course in it?
Prosecutor Trixie, let the defense present her point before you start shooting her
Oh,
down.
yo, Celestia's pissed.
Fine. Defense, what are you getting at?
Pay attention, Prosecutor Trixie, and I'll show you. You may admire this anonymous citizen for doing their duty, but I admire them for a different reason.
What? Their penmanship?
No, actually. Their punctuality. Do you remember what time Overall was reported to have gone on break?
Yeah, 10:15. What's your...
That's
Okay.
right. 10:15. But this report tells us that this anonymous citizen heard screaming at 10:12 p.m. A full 3
Oh,
minutes
okay.
before
So,
Overall had even
yeah,
stepped
missed that.
outside
Okay.
for his break.
Okay, so now it's cooking a little. She's cooking.
The contradiction is prima facie, self-evident. Unless you're telling me the laws of physics cease to exist in that particular alleyway, there is no way my client could have committed this murder.
Objection!
Come on, I was jamming out to that music.
Whoa.
Come on.
What's with her?
Your Honor? Trixie...
Is it about to pass out?
Trixie must apologize to the court!
Bro, what?
Wait, you're apologizing?
Hello?
I'm not surprised! I can be humble when I need to!
Prosecutor Trixie,
Yes, of course, Your Honor. You see, Your Honor, that is the wrong disturbance report.
Huh?
the wrong.
The wrong what? Do you really expect the court to buy that?
Don't you start biting at me, Buster. I'm well aware this looks like a sham, but I'm telling you it's the truth.
Are you sure about
Then
that?
what am I even holding here?
That's an earlier draft with a transpositional error. An incorrect number was written on the report, which of course means the time is incorrect.
Oh, dude, remember that scene in Better Call Saul? I'm getting flashbacks to that. It's like I know those numbers were like 1021, one after Magna Carta. You know, remember, because like that the whole like everyone think Chuck was going crazy in Better Call Saul was because Jimmy swapped two numbers on a report and made Chuck look like a freaking idiot. Oh, dude, I'm getting vibes like that. except I don't think this is gonna bring Trixie to make herself look like she's absolutely batsh insane. God, did y'all take his inspiration from Better Call Saul on that one?
That's absurd.
Prosecution, if that's the case, where is the actual report?
Floating under a bridge.
But right here, Your Honor.
It says that the real time of the report is 10:21 p.m.
Just like Better Call Saul. No! Oh my God. Okay, dude. This has to be a Better Call Saul reference. It has to be. Oh my God, bro.
p.m.
Exactly, Your Honor. We also know that the defendant went on break at
So this
10:15.
shows that overall
This
concept might
report
actually be
now
screwed.
tells us that a full 6 minutes would have passed afterwards, and lines everything back up, including the time that he was arrested, 10:30 p.m.
Okay, but hang on. So, but also the estimated time of death is between 10:15 and 10:45, and he was arrested at 10:30. So, was she like DOA at the hospital, or like did she die at the scene? Like, this is okay. I'm sure there will be detail come up about that.
Well, that's
One after
awfully
Magna Carta.
convenient. What else are you gonna pull out of that hat of yours?
Only the things I plan on pulling out. Not blunders, not fake pieces of evidence. Some clerk must have handed me the wrong item first before sending me this correct one.
Couldn't you tell that they were completely different?
Could you? Look, they're the same kind of manila envelope. I didn't have a chance to read it over until... Well, really, I should thank you for pointing that out.
It's not exactly my job to catch your mistakes. Nor is it yours to sit back and rely on the defense.
Oh, so now you're an expert on how the prosecution should behave?
Jeez.
Look, Missy, you just got out of jail not even a year ago.
Oh!
There are legal techniques you haven't even dreamed of that I could teach you.
All you've taught me so far is that the prosecution may have been huffing too much fireworks smoke today.
Oh!
That's it.
Ooh! Yo! Dude. More heated than the Drake and Kendrick beef. Holy smokes, bro. Yo.
Prosecutor Trixie, it is extremely unprofessional for you to have handed this court
I'd declare a mistrial, dude. I would declare a mistrial.
outdated evidence while you are in possession of an updated one. You as well, defense. Giving into the prosecution's inciting comments is one thing, but supplying your own? That is equally unbecoming. This is a murder trial. A pony's life has been lost while another hangs in the balance. You should both be more respectful to that fact. Be that as it may, I am inclined to think this is an honest mistake. Therefore, I am willing to overlook it, especially since we now have the updated report in our hoops properly. Nevertheless, Prosecutor Trixie, I will be speaking to you about this slip-up after court is adjourned.
Yes, Your Honor. Trixie understands.
Detective, I believe your cross-examination has come to a close. You may leave the witness stand. Thank you for your time.
The pleasure has been all mine, my lady. Good day to you all.
Darn it. I would have preferred that Princess Celestia toss that report out. Guess you can't win them all.
Yeah.
But there goes that particular angle. Maybe it was too much, having all my hopes riding on that one thing. I also need to learn to keep a cooler head. It won't do to get all agitated like that. I'm liable to miss something important. And I'll definitely need that something. If it means
So, I
finding a
want
new
me
way
to help you
clear
write
my
a diss track
client's
against
name.
Trixie?
I just have to find
They
a
not
different
like
opening.
us. They not like us. They not like us. Ooh, here we go. Luna! Back at it again with Luna. Luna. Luna.
Court is now in session for the trial.
Hey,
of
what's up, Will?
Dash. Are the prosecution and defense ready?
That human is the judge again? Good afternoon, Your Honor. I didn't realize you were still in Equestria.
Miss Sonata? Ah, what a pleasure it is to see you again. And you as well, Mr. Wright.
Forgive me for asking, Your Honor. But was I mistaken in thinking another pony would be presiding today?
No. You are quite correct. Another pony intended to act as your judge today. Unfortunately, they were called away at the last minute to preside over another trial.
Probably Rarity's
That's
trial.
highly irregular, especially for something like this. Surely one of the princesses could substitute for them.
Considering the fact that one of the princesses is the prosecution in this case.
Though since Princess Luna is prosecuting, then that means Princess Celestia is still available. What could call her away? And as for this other trial, no guesses as to which one that is.
Without many others who could preside over such an important case.
Not even Cadence? Well, I guess
I
it's
was
out of our
offered the chance
jurisdiction.
to stay here a bit longer.
Yeah.
I hope that doesn't disappoint you.
Not at all, Your Honor. I'm happy to see you again. Mr. Wright speaks very highly of your abilities.
Does he now?
Yes, of course, Your Honor. We veterans gotta stick together, you know? It's great to see you again. Did you enjoy watching that race?
Oh, I'm so happy you asked. I've seen many things in my day, but I've never been so surprised at how fast these Pegasi can fly. The only downside was that, well, I was kind of expecting it to be a little bigger. Apparently, I missed a real whopper of a race that occurred not
Whopper,
long
whopper,
ago.
whopper, whopper.
What was its name again? The Pedestrian 600? Anyway, please extend my gratitude to Princess Twilight for the tourist spot she recommended. I've been seeing everything I can from up here.
Don't remind me.
Still, I believe my earlier question needs an answer. Are the prosecution and defense ready to begin?
The defense.
Will, Will, I gotta ask you, homie. Like, does doing that voice like hurt? Like after doing it for so long? I have to know, bro.
Is ready, Your Honor.
I'm sure it does. It has to. What the heck?
The prosecution is ready, Your Honor.
Luna, holy snap.
Princess Luna, are you feeling all right? You appear tense.
Apologies. We did not mean to offend. Recent events' totality of calumnies, indignities, and deceits have weighed most heavily upon my soul. Compounding this is the knowledge of my own involvement in such affairs. I am vexed by the whims of conscience.
Good vocabulary.
Calumnies? Indignities?
Did she get harder to understand? Or is that just me?
I haven't heard her get that bad in a while.
This trial, however, will allow me to rectify my mistakes. You have my promise as a princess of the
Okay.
Equestrian.
I guess because like since she's a ruler and like she's supposed to like be a champion for peace and equality, well, more so peace, not equality, but like with her being a champion of peace, she feels like I guess she feels a large burden on her shoulders that like murder, like so many bad things have been happening in Equestria because like we had the poisoning of that one pony, and the death of Overall Concept, the death of Estella, and also the prior case where Turning Page's dad got killed. Like all these deaths are just like it's just bodies racking up, bro. And I guess Luna is just like, can y'all not? like you're making me look bad. Well, but that's probably not it though. Like, but like I'm sure she feels a burden. Like she, with so much with Equestria is supposed to be a land of like harmony, friendship, and peace. The fact that murder is happening, and since I guess murder is so rare in this land, it's just like y'all. Hey, yeah, I'm sure she's like probably not traumatized. That's not the right word, but like there's a lot weighing on her shoulders right now.
I shall proceed towards the truth beyond even a millennia of troubled circumstances if needed. That is my duty as a prosecutor. And that is my only duty today. I am ready to proceed with the trial, Your
Yo,
Honor.
Luna's about to go hard in the paint.
Athena told me about the last time she talked with Princess Luna. She said they ended on pretty good terms. But you can see how she's looking at us, right?
That expression is one you would only see.
I love
on
how
the
Cloud
dark
Chaser
side
is
of
just
the
smiling in the
moon.
background while I see like
You think she just
Bottle
woke up
Scratch
on the
and
wrong side of
Bon
the
Bon
bed?
just like.
I think it's more than that. But I also suspect she isn't in any mood to offer us help. That's for sure.
Well, maybe we can help her out. Worth a try, right?
I suppose.
Prosecutor Luna?
What is it?
I just want you to know that what happened before, it wasn't your fault. You shouldn't blame yourself.
As prosecutor, it is my responsibility to ensure a trial reaches a satisfactory conclusion. I failed in that regard, to an extent that is unjustifiable.
You didn't know the truth, though. None of us did, until the end.
Hence why the truth will no longer evade me and lie in wait until it bears its fangs. I will find it and strike first.
Princess Luna, I'm serious. You can't take what happened personally. It always ends badly.
Your opinion is duly noted, Blue Phoenix.
Angry as well as defensive, it seems.
Coming up with new wrestling or boxing
Not
names.
that I blame her. The last trial was trying on every pony involved. I can't imagine what it was like for her afterwards.
Yeah.
Going back to Canterlot after everything that happened. The rumors must have been absolutely scandalous.
Yeah, actually, no, because like when I was giving my whole spiel a second ago, yeah, I did not realize like she was talking more so about like the past case, because everybody left that courtroom just like, damn, you know, it's just like everybody like as they said, like everybody kind of like was just like, we're trying to find the truth, and like it didn't rear its head until after the case, and like we just we just traumatized more people in the process of doing it. So it was more so about that. So I was understanding that kind of wrong, but I still stand by with what I initially said though. Like the fact that there's more and more murders happening in Equestria, and since she's the ruler, she bears a responsibility to ensure that peace and justice prevail. And she's not doing and she feels that she's not doing a great job with that.
Even
I feel
a
like both of us
princess
can go
would
together.
feel their weight, their barbs.
Though it surprises me, Blue Phoenix, that you hold yourself there at the side today, rather than at the forefront of the defense. In your place stands Miss Sonata. Tell me, why am I not facing you, Blue Phoenix?
Oh, yeah. There's a reason for that. Don't worry. Actually, well, you see, we decided that...
Get on with it.
Don't underestimate my capabilities, Princess Luna. You should know my track record speaks for itself. The silent treatment already, huh?
Your vocabulary, Prosecutor Luna, reminds me of the archaic garden path sentences I'd seen in some of my earliest judicial days. Nevertheless, I appreciate your commitment to re-evaluating yourself in the name of preserving the law. Mr. Wright's concerns aside, your resolve is commendable. Speaking from experience, a prosecutor who is willing to better themselves is something that should be encouraged, if only so others follow suit.
You humble me with your words, Your Honor.
And with that, let us resume this trial. Prosecutor Luna, you may make your opening statement.
Without hesitation, Your Honor.
Well, here we go. Time to set up the pieces and play the board.
Right, let's do this.
Today's proceedings shall center around the collapse of Wonderbolt reservist Streamline. The fault of such a collapse lies at the hooves of Rainbow Dash, another Wonderbolt reservist.
She was cleared for murder ages ago! Give it up already!
What's the big idea of choosing her for your victim? Your pony's got a problem with her or something?
I do. Concerning the fact that she's the worst.
Order in the court! Order!
Whoa. I didn't anticipate the reaction to be so fierce. I guess that's what you get for trying to pin a second case against a celebrity. Especially in her hometown, no less. Not that Luna even looks a little fazed by it. I'm guessing she was expecting this.
What were you expecting? The Spanish Inquisition?
I will remind the gallery that they are not to interrupt our
Subject.
proceedings again. You will be escorted out if needed.
And then shot to the sun!
Prosecutor Luna, you may continue.
Streamline collapsed during a mandatory training session at the Wonderbolt Academy on the 20th of February, or yesterday. On-site medical personnel, after evaluating her condition, escorted her to Cloudsdale General Hospital for treatment. The hospital administered a tox screen upon her admittance. The initial report, however, came back negative.
It came back negative? Then why did the authorities suspect poisoning?
No tox screen has a 100% efficacy rate, Your Honor. There are other ways of demonstrating the presence of poisoning. That includes observing the victim's symptoms. The ones that Streamline exhibited, which will be brought up in testimony, match the symptoms of a certain poison. Given that, the prosecution feels it is appropriate to consider this an attempted poisoning. Further evidence indicates that only Rainbow Dash could have committed this crime.
I'm afraid the defense simply cannot take this as fact. You will need to prove without any doubt that Rainbow can be tied to the poisoning.
Nothing will be left to doubt, Miss Sonata. Of that you can be most certain.
We'll see about that.
Now then, the prosecution calls its first witness, the lead detective, to the stand.
So who's the lead detective? If Private Eye is like... Yo, this guy looks exhausted. Holy smokes.
Whoa. And I thought Gumshoe was the reigning champ of shabbiest detective ever.
Hey,
That's no ordinary detective, Mr. Wright.
hey, don't drag my boy Gumshoe through the mud like that.
That's Philo Reed, the head of the Equestrian Bureau of Investigation. And
The
another
EBI?
member of the High Council.
Seriously? This guy is part of the same group as Lawkeeper Equity? As well as the Equestrian Bureau? Wait, that's the organization that Private Eye mentioned.
So this must be Private Eye's mentor.
Yes, that's his mentor.
Wait a sec. Didn't Private Eye say it was called the Equestrian Bureau of Intelligence?
That he did.
You don't seem surprised.
Well, for as level-headed as Private Eye is, he's not without his quirks. I often saw him confuse the names for certain departments during his time. I corrected him once, and he went bright red with embarrassment.
Ooh.
If only certain others were as self-conscious as he is.
I'm surprised he's here, given what Lawkeeper Equity alluded to at the end of the previous trial. I thought he was leading the investigation into Rarity's case. But judging by his lackluster appearance, he might be leading both that and this one.
So
Still,
he doesn't
I can't
always look like
underestimate
this?
him. Not in the slightest. No pony becomes a living legend over empty feats after all. He may look tired,
Dude's like...
but I'll...
It reminds me of like Haymitch from the Hunger Games, where he looks like a drunken mess all the time. But the dude won the Hunger Games and went hard in the paint.
bet that his mind is as sharp as ever.
Witness, state your name and occupation.
Philo Reed, detective, and Equestria's most sought-after one at that.
Detective Reed, are you sure you'll be able to testify? You seem a touch out of it right now.
You're out of touch, I'm out of time, but I'm out of my head when you're not around. Okay, seriously, like, who on this writing team is a Hollow Notes fan? Yeah, I see you leaving little bits of Hollow Notes bits right there. You have Private Eye, the Private Eye song, Out of Touch. Well, touch out of it, but I think you can argue out of touch. Come on. We just need a Daryl Hall and John Oates pony, and we are set. Yo, the fact that one of them said that like we were just business partners, we were never friends, that irks me. I'm just like, you're the biggest RBI duo in music. You have been in this industry for 40, 50 years. You're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and you're just now trying to squander it. Like, yeah. Ranting aside.
Of course, my lord. Don't let my appearance fool you. Books.
Oh, yeah. Wait. I see DeWilson here as OC in the background. I don't remember who that one is, though. She looks a little familiar. I see Derpy there. I think that's Derps. I think I know that guy. Pretty sure. These two, I'm not sure. She looks a little familiar. I can't remember who that is. I'm not sure about, though.
And... covers and undercovers, I'm here to seek them all out. Truth makes no moves unless you do.
Bro.
You come again?
No pony said anything.
All's well that ends well, then.
Somebody get this guy some coffee.
Falls asleep again. We can
Want
have
some
him
on
out
mine?
of the courtroom.
I'd rather spend today actually speaking with the detective than tucking him into bed.
Witness, rouse yourself.
Huh?
Apologies, I'm still a bit groggy. Nothing that can't be handled, I promise.
Somebody get this man some coffee,
Come
please.
first before anything else.
Somebody, please,
My
get this
protege,
man
the
some
EBI, have certainly
coffee.
gotten worse from me.
In that case, please proceed with your testimony.
No, if you guys watched my what's it called? My playthrough for Gyakuten Live, Kanata being the first detective and her always being tired and groggy, I feel like these two would be perfectly great friends. Somebody please do some fan art of Kanata and this guy just hanging out. Oh wait, hang on. Who are these? Is that Thespio? Yo, is that Palias Sterno's OC? Almost looks like it. I don't think that's theirs. I recognize that one. Is that Kenza? No, that's not John Kenza. Damn, whose OC is that? I recognize that. That one looks familiar too. Like a lot of these look familiar, but I don't like remember their names offhand. I recognize the Willistoners though. Like that one, I can recognize a mile away.
The victim was poisoned with a substance known as grickle grass. How do I know, you ask? The symptoms of said poison are very distinct, and they are a perfect match with the victim's condition. Those symptoms are a combination of sweating, a dangerously high heart rate, lightheadedness, followed by vomiting, extreme anxiety, and eventual collapse.
I was about to say, that sounds like heat stroke. But then with the anxiety, I'm just like, I don't think heat stroke victims get anxiety.
I must admit that Miss Streamline was tested for any signs of the poison, but the results came back negative. Several Wonderbolts have made mention of seeing Rainbow Dash swapping juice boxes in her own locker with the ones in the victim's, though. Thus, the conclusion I have arrived at is that the juice box was the method by which the defendant poisoned the victim.
It would have been nice to know about this whole swapping juice boxes detail before we
I
stepped
feel
in
like
the
they
court.
mentioned that before.
I thought she was just putting juice boxes into Streamline's locker.
Well then, that would certainly explain a few things, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think this is what Rainbow Dash was hiding from us?
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Why would she hide that from us, though?
I don't know.
Thank you for your testimony, Detective Reed. Do you have anything further to add?
I always have more to say, my lord.
Stars in his eyes.
Oh dear. Today's going to be a long day, isn't it?
Somebody get the scotch!
I should hope not. I've got a schedule to keep.
And I want my blankie.
Perhaps evidence will please our dear prosecutor. Behold, a report from the finest department you will find in Equestria, containing details on gricklegrass and its effects.
Okay, that would help.
For the perusal of all present, be they pony or human.
Alright, let's see here. A rare but easy to manufacture poison. Effects are sweating, dangerously high heart rate, lightheadedness, followed by vomiting, extreme anxiety, and eventual collapse. Okay, so yeah, that lines up exactly with what he said. Word for word, letter for letter.
Thank you, Detective Reed. Now then, defense, you may begin your cross-examination.
No sweat, Sonata. We've got this.
Right.
I've got
Let's
this.
get started.
Glowing eyes are so cool.
The victim was poisoned with a substance known as gricklegrass. How do I know, you ask? The symptoms of said poison are very distinct, and they are a perfect match with the victim's condition.
Hold it! Why are you so confident it was this poison specifically? Couldn't it be something else?
Like, for example, an allergic reaction to something the victim ate that day?
Objection!
Damn!
Your
Her
first
eyes
point
went-
of contention, and you're already blaming the victim? How cowardly.
Hey! She's just asking.
Streamline's
I wouldn't say
medical
she's victim
records
blaming.
have been checked, and she has no such allergy that would cause her to react in the manner she did.
To clarify, gricklegrass is neither lethal nor noticeable in a single dose. No, you would need repeated small doses over time before the effect's onset.
What sort of length of time are we talking about?
About a week, I'd say.
You sound very sure.
Yes, I am indeed certain. My knowledge of botany is variable, but I'm quite well up in poisons.
I see. Then an allergic reaction doesn't seem likely. They tend to occur soon after ingestion, not upwards of a week, don't they?
Indeed, Your Honor.
Guess I can't argue that route.
This week-long estimate matches the timeline of events quite nicely as well. The other Wonderbolts have all made statements to this effect. All mentioned that the victim has been looking a lot more withdrawn and lethargic as of late, which affected her performance. From what I've gathered, Streamline was quite an adept flyer, having a considerable degree of control over her wings. A quiet flyer, too. She hardly made any noise. To see her suddenly struggling and making a ruckus when attempting a simple takeoff was highly unusual by all accounts.
Well, that clears that up then. Thank you for that information, Detective.
You're quite welcome, my lord. A font of knowledge such as myself often enjoys bestowing insight upon others.
Evidently.
That was worth a shot. Don't let it get you down.
Yeah, it seems like though he's
It's
like,
alright.
despite his
I wasn't
demeanor,
on the offensive
he leaves
anyway.
no stone unturned.
Really?
Well, some pony has to make the first move, right?
I guess so. What do you mean by that, though?
You'll see. Don't worry.
Continue your testimony, Detective.
Those symptoms are a combination of sweating, a dangerously high heart rate, lightheadedness, followed by vomiting, extreme anxiety, and eventual collapse. Additionally, Grickle grass is fairly simple to make, as poisons go.
Hold it!
So what is the process to
Would
make
you
it?
say the fact that Grickle grass being an easy poison to make is what led you to suspect that it was used here?
Objection! Was I expecting too much of you when I hoped you would at least pay attention to the detective's testimony? He has made it quite clear as to his reasons, of which there are several.
Nevertheless, I will answer. Yes, Miss Sonata, I would say just that. Miss Rainbow Dash, or any pony really, could conceivably make it without much issue. However, this is in conjunction with the timeline of events I mentioned earlier, along with the very particular set of symptoms the victim presented.
I see. Thank you for the clarification.
Sonata?
Yes, Mr. Wright?
I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but why are we just letting Prosecutor Luna and the detective clarify their points with no pushback? Even your first move seemed to be doing just that.
We spoke about chess earlier today. Do you remember?
Yeah, I do. Is that relevant?
Just like chess, sometimes I find it's better to stop and pay attention. The opening move isn't necessarily a declaration of offensive intent, but more so gauging how your opponent reacts.
Okay.
The same applies to what just happened here. We now know how they'll respond to their points being questioned and bolstered without incident. Essentially, it's about observation and knowing when to strike.
That's a really unique strategy.
I like it.
But I get that knowing that is important. But we're not just going to let them walk all over us, are we?
Of course not. When an opening presents itself, I'll be sure to take advantage of it. Right now, though, Luna seems a bit guarded. She probably won't give us any more information if I object too quickly.
I'm not sure which side of her I prefer. Before, she might as well have been on the stand herself with how much she was jumping in.
Regardless, as she is now, it's better to listen first. Lull her into a false sense of security before springing forward.
Pardon
Okay.
me for interrupting, but I did mention I have a schedule to keep today.
A schedule?
Can we resume, or
I'm
are you
Sean
finished?
Connery, and I have a schedule to run.
Yes. Good point, Detective. Continue your cross-examination, defense.
Despite this, I must admit that Miss Streamline was tested for any signs of the poison, but the results came back negative.
Hold it! If this is the case, why are you insisting that the victim was, in fact, poisoned? If there were no traces of poison found in Streamline's body, then your entire argument about how Rainbow Dash poisoned the victim doesn't seem to follow.
I can confirm that a forensic spell was performed on both Streamline and her juice boxes.
A forensic spell? That's
she
the
was
thing.
not suffering
Did they
from
mention that in
affliction
the prior
might have been
episodes?
caused by magic. There were no traces of any sort of magic being cast on the juice boxes either. This led me to conclude that the juice boxes were tampered with by Hoof.
Okay.
A deduction supported by the statements of some Wonderbolts having seen Miss Dash doing precisely that.
The forensic spell in question was performed in my presence for clarity's sake. as were all examinations of any evidence by my order.
Even so, this doesn't answer my question. None of this proves Rainbow Dash poisoned the victim. Again, why the insistence on Streamline having been poisoned?
As the detective stated, the forensic spell led us to the conclusion that this incident had no magical influence. There were no signs of any magic having been performed that would have caused her collapse. Thus, this crime is chemical in nature. Can we agree on that?
Yes, we can.
If that is the case, then we should also agree a poison of some sort is the most viable cause of the victim's condition.
That I'm not so sure about. But I don't really have an alternative explanation for why Streamline collapsed. And running my mouth won't get me anywhere. Better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to speak and remove all doubt, as they say.
Sonata? Rainbow doesn't look too happy.
Oh, there she is.
We might want to pick up the pace. I know you've got a plan, but all Rainbow can see is you agreeing with Prosecutor Luna and letting her say what she wants.
Yes, I suppose that might be what it looks like. Of all the ponies that should let their lawyer speak for them, Rainbow Dash is top of the list. We'll make a move then. Let's see where it gets us.
Several Wonderbolts have made mention of seeing Rainbow Dash swapping juice boxes in her own locker with the ones in the victim's, though.
Hold it! How often was Rainbow allegedly seen putting her juice boxes in Streamline's locker?
According to the several witness statements we gathered, quite regularly.
And by that you mean...
Every day before practice, without fail,
You're talking about
starting
practice.
about a week ago.
About a week.
That lines up perfectly with the projected time frame for the poisoning.
Oh boy.
Additionally,
This is not looking
the
good.
last time the defendant was seen tampering with the victim's juice boxes was on the day of the collapse.
From bad to worse. I need to move on before this gets out of hoof. Thank you for clarifying that, Detective. Please continue your testimony.
Gotta make a move. Luna seems surprised that I guess she was expecting Tsunade to make a move there.
Is that the juice box was the method by which the defendant poisoned the victim.
Hold it! The juice boxes being the delivery method of the suspected poison seems unlikely, wouldn't you say?
What do you mean by that?
Well, like you said, it takes repeated doses for the symptoms to take effect.
Correct.
But that's the thing. Repeated doses, Detective. Your very words. Surely you'd admit that a single juice box would not be able to fulfill, as you say, this repeated dose requirement?
I suppose it probably wouldn't. No. Numerically speaking.
Objection! Congratulations, defense. If nothing else, you are a master at wasting the court's time. While you are here debating, of all things, basic arithmetic, you fail to account for one crucial detail. Catalyst or no, the effects of the poison did show, regardless of how elegantly you attempt to dance around that fact.
Even so...
But that's not the only point you fail to account for. The detective has clearly stated that according to several witness statements, the defendant had repeatedly and previously placed her own juice boxes into the victim's locker. It is reasonable to assume that every instance involved a tainted juice box, as evidenced by the victim's collapse. In effect, those are the repeated doses of which detective
That's what
speaks.
my mind was. Because like, yeah, if Rainbow Dash and Streamline were starting to get to know each other over the past week, and they kept sharing juice boxes like each day, and like since the poison takes about a week with repeated doses, you would assume that each juice box that Rainbow Dash shared with Streamline's juice boxes were poisoned. That was my mindset. I'm not sure what Sonata was trying to go about with.
There. I have solved your mathematical conundrum. It is not a matter of one juice box. It is a matter of many.
Were these juice boxes tested for traces of the poison?
They were. The results were negligible, and could not adequately determine the poison's presence.
What? Then that definitely means...
But recall what the detective has said. Not just repeated doses, but small repeated
Yeah,
doses.
something that's... Yeah, because if it's small, it may be hard to find traces of.
It's possible that the amount slipped into any individual juice box is too small to detect.
Bingo.
Only when the poisoning catalyzes can its effect be observed, and its presence determined after the fact. Which, as we have already said, was what indeed occurred.
You can't say that for certain, not without clear proof. At this moment, things are far too vague to come to any
Quick,
sort of
stop! Somebody
conclusion.
pump Streamline's stomach.
Then allow me to dispel that vagueness which you claim still exists.
You have more evidence?
A witness, Blue Phoenix.
We're still in the middle of a cross-examination, though.
One that has run its course, in my opinion. But, if you would, Your Honor.
Yes, I agree. The outline of this incident and the testimony given by the detective have both been sufficiently scrutinized. Anything further would likely just be us going in circles. So I suggest we move on.
I say just for like.
So I'm free to leave now, my lord?
Yeah, if you need him back, I would just recall him
You may
back.
step down, witness.
Time for me to leave the drab, tiresome confines of this courtroom behind and get back to work.
Your Honor, could we please...
I'm sorry, Mr. Wright, but no. We've spent enough time on Detective Reed's testimony.
If the judge won't give Mr. Wright any leeway, I've got no chance. I suppose this is where the cross-examination ends, whether we like it or not.
Well, now, I'll be off then. Although, Miss Sonata,
Yes?
your approach to cross-examination is very unique. Extremely shrewd, meticulous, yet without meanness or malice. It's been a while since I've had some pony press me in that manner. I feel nostalgic, in a way.
Huh.
The fool speaks, the wise pony listens. Right?
Sonata?
For what it's worth, I'm glad you are still listening.
I will now call my next witness, Your Honor.
Very well.
Oh, what's up, Lightning? I was about to say Lightning Dust.
Witness, please state your name and occupation for the record.
Spitfire, ma'am. I'm the captain of the Wonderbolts.
Captain? Wow, that's quite the amazing feat. You must be a pretty big deal then, eh?
Oh, don't you know, eh?
I don't like to show off, but I am proud of my service to Equestria.
Still trying to remain professional, I see.
Yo, who's on the guitar? Is that Melody Brony?
Yes, ma'am.
You will testify in regard to both Wonderbolt reservists that are involved in this incident, and the juice boxes that were placed in the victim's locker.
Copy that, ma'am.
Damn, I was jamming out. Rainbow Dash and Streamline. Let's go.
It's not an exaggeration to say that Rainbow Dash is one of our fastest flyers. Streamline's almost just as good, too. The two of them share a dorm space, and their
Is
lockers
it me or
are
is
right
it,
next
are
to
we
each
like
other as
really
well.
close to Spitfire?
It's like that detective said. Several ponies saw Rainbow swap a juice box with one in Streamline's locker, just before the collapse. After I was notified, I called for Rainbow's detainment. Unfortunately, rather than come quietly, she ended up causing a scene and resisted arrest.
Damn.
Thank you for your testimony, Captain Spitfire.
Of course, Princess Luna.
Now, I believe we have a cross-examination to...
Actually, ma'am, and your honor, I'd like to say a few more words, if that's all right.
Oh? Well then, go ahead, witness.
In my time as captain of the Wonderbolts, I've seen a lot of newbies come and go. Some wash out long before they can achieve liftoff. Rainbow Dash, however, has certainly demonstrated she could be a capable member. Her accomplishments really do speak for themselves. She'll make an excellent Wonderbolt one day.
Do not tell me, Captain Spitfire, that you mean to slam your own gavel and rule in place of the court.
Not at all, ma'am. It's not my place to judge.
On that, we agree. However, I would advise you to
Yeah,
refrain
you're
from
not a
making your
character
unprompted
witness.
opinions known unless directly asked.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for letting me speak regardless.
No doubt about it. Spitfire's proud of Rainbow. It must pain her to have to testify against her.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yet she
you were called to
chose
testify,
anyway.
Spitfire, not to be a character
I
witness.
wonder, does she want to protect Rainbow, or does her duty to the Wonderbolts always come first?
Now then, defense, you may begin your cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor.
It's not an exaggeration to say that Rainbow Dash is one of our fastest flyers. Streamline's almost just as good, too. The two of them share a dorm space, and their lockers are right next to each other as well. It's like that detective said. Several ponies saw Rainbow swap a juice box with one in Streamline's locker, just before the collapse.
Hold it! How do you know that Rainbow was putting her own juice boxes in, and not, say, Streamline's boxes?
Objection! Defense, I begin to tire at your incessant habit of blowing more hot air. The prosecution already verified that they were different juice boxes by examining the boxes themselves. We found that the boxes of the victim and the defendant had different shipment numbers, and that at the time of the crime, those two sets of numbers were both in the victim's locker, indicating one was being swapped out with another. Combined then with Detective Reed's testimony, we have no doubt that they were swapped by the defendant. It is self-evident.
That matches with what we found, unfortunately.
I should have expected Luna to be that thorough. Still, it was worth testing the waters there. Alright. Then, Captain, let me revise my question. We heard from Detective Reed that my client had been swapping out the boxes for a little while. Now, you verified that by saying, before the collapse, she was seen swapping one out again, correct?
Didn't I already say that? Why are you asking me to repeat myself?
Witness, if the defense didn't hear you the first time, it's not their fault. Just answer the question.
Now that's projection if I've ever heard it.
Damn.
Yes, that's correct.
Then what happened to the one Rainbow swapped out?
I actually don't know.
You don't know? Then what about this? Detective Reed speculated that my client had been performing the swap repeatedly for about a week. So what happened to those juice boxes? Where'd they go?
10 to 1 says they were thrown out. But I get the feeling that's not what you mean.
What do you mean, defense?
Is it important to know where those discarded boxes went? Maybe. They could provide us some new information if we were to test them. But I don't think I want to reveal that card yet. And besides, if no pony knows where the boxes went, I may not get that far in asking for them. I'll inquire more about this later. For the time being, though. Thank you, Captain. You may continue your testimony.
Okay.
I am
Sonata?
confusion. She's playing chess. Don't worry, Phoenix. She's got this. She's got
After
this.
I was notified, I called for Rainbow's detainment. Unfortunately, rather than come quietly, she ended up causing a scene and resisted arrest.
Hold it! She resisted arrest?
You're darn right she did. She took a swing at one of the Air Wing security forces.
Damn.
I think Celestia she missed, or she'd have been charged with assault. Honestly, I get why she'd be upset, but she should have known better. It made the Wonderbolts as a whole look bad.
Murder, though it have no tongue, will speak with most miraculous organ.
No murder was committed, Prosecutor Luna. And attempted murder is still under question.
But of course, still, look upon your client's face. Would an innocent pony look so incensed?
Woo!
Prosecutor Luna would, of course, know that she cannot attempt to lead the gallery. More than that, surely she can acknowledge that an upset face does not inherently mean guilt. After all, any innocent pony would be upset at being wrongfully arrested.
As you say.
Alright, way to
Well,
flip the script on that one.
that's all Spitfire has to say. What do you think?
It's hard to say. The only genuinely new piece of information is that Rainbow Dash resisted arrest. Which, as bad as it looks, isn't as shocking as one might think, given whom we're talking about.
You know, there's still time. We can go over Spitfire's testimony again.
No. I believe I'm through with it.
What? You're done? Already?
So far, aside from the juice box swapping, nothing surprising has been said. So perhaps the prosecution has played all its pieces, which may mean...
If there's nothing further, I think we can conclude this cross-examination.
And hopefully, this trial, Your Honor?
Just a moment, Prosecutor Luna. Let me give my opinion thus far.
Under
The
my
case
judge.
against Miss Rainbow Dash appears rather solid, all things considered. Witnesses, several of them, testify as to her actions and behaviors the day of the collapse. And we at least have an idea of what actions were taken. That of poisoning. Unless I'm missing something, everything has been established.
Everything except one thing, Your Honor. A possible motive. Neither Detective Reed nor Captain Spitfire provided us an idea of one after all.
That is true. Captain Spitfire?
Well, Your Honor, it, isn't really my place to speculate, is it?
Prosecutor Luna did say that you should not provide your opinions unprompted. Consider this the prompt. And while you're at it, you should consider something else. Assuming that Rainbow Dash did swap out the juice boxes in Streamline's locker with her own, we lack any idea of why she did that.
We know why. She wished to poison the victim.
But why?
Yeah, that's
What
not
would
really
drive
answering
some
why.
Pony, any pony, to attempt something like that?
Why does that matter, defense? Motive hardly changes the outcome.
Isn't it obvious? So long as that hole exists, it would be inappropriate for us to assume anything definitive about this case has been established. We, as arbiters of the rule of law...
Do not cite the rule to me, defense. I was there when it was written.
Oh, she pulled that card. Wasn't that like, I was there when it was written. What's that a reference to? I was there when it was written. Wasn't that, is that a Star Wars line? Ugh, I can't remember. Like, I know that's a line from something, though. I was there when it was written. That feels like a Star... Okay, hang on. I'm looking this up really quick. Okay, no. It wasn't Star Wars. It was Lion Witch in the Wardrobe. When Aslan was talking to the Wicked Witch of Winter, or whatever her name was. Aslan, almost in a roar. Do not cite the deep magic to me, witch. I was there when it was written. It was the Lion Witch in the Wardrobe reference. We got a Better Call Saul reference and Lion the Witch in the Wardrobe. I love it.
I see
Best
and
episode so far, in
acknowledge
my
your point.
opinion.
I welcome it, in fact, for the opportunity it affords.
You welcome it?
Okay.
Indeed. If the
Luna might be
motive
playing
is
a little
what
bit
you
of 4D
desire,
chess here.
I shall be happy to provide.
She knew. I had a feeling she would. But then, why didn't she start off with that?
Captain Spitfire,
Yes, ma'am?
I believe it is in the best interest of the court that you now provide some additional context.
Additional? Oh, you must mean...
Indeed. Proceed, witness.
What was Spitfire holding back?
Alright, well, the thing is... This isn't the first incident between Rainbow Dash and Streamline.
Wasn't that kind of
There
established
were arguments
beforehand?
before,
Right, yeah.
usually small ones. Nothing that you wouldn't expect from competing team members. But a few days before the collapse, Rainbow and Streamline were arguing again during practice. It got heated. Very heated.
How bad are
Would
we
you
talking?
explain to the court what you mean by that?
Rainbow Dash said...
Oh, we're getting a flashback.
You're
Cool.
nothing but a dirty cheater who should never have been let into the Wonderbolts.
Yikes! Yikes! Oh, that's not good. That is not good. That's not good for you at all, RD. Lock her ass up, Your Honor. She guilty. She guilty. Send her to the moon. Send her to the sun. Send her to the next 5 galaxies away from here. She is done. Like Drake, she is cooked.
So, how exactly was Streamline a cheater?
Did she deflate her wings like Tom Brady?
Can't say, Your Honor. I only arrived after the argument and ordered the two of them to separate and cool off. I never heard what caused it.
Wait. Hold on a moment. Think this through. It was obvious from the start that Rainbow Dash didn't like Streamline. But now, calling Streamline a cheater.
Oh, hang on.
This information seems extremely relevant. If I consider what Phoenix said back at the Academy, he told me his Magatama detected that Rainbow was hiding some sort of secret, didn't he? But not just any old secret. One seemingly related to her arrest. And how that whole just a case of bad timing might be a lie.
Okay.
And
Might
then,
be cooking a little bit.
with what Rainbow said in the detention center?
Did Streamline become a reservist around the same time you did?
No, she became one a little bit later. I never heard of her before, and then she suddenly found her way onto the team. Not like she deserved it, though.
Why's that?
Because she just doesn't, okay?
Ooh, you're getting one of these like little side minigame things here. So Rainbow Dash's accusation and Rainbow Dash's secret.
That's it, isn't it?
That was smooth, I like that.
That's what you were hiding from me all this time. You know your accusation gives you a clear motive. So you've kept it to yourself. Kept it from me. But now
She's
I know.
ticked.
Now the whole court knows. Not just that you have a motive for wanting to get rid of Streamline, but that you've been lying from the start.
That's
Why,
not good.
Rainbow Dash? Why wouldn't you tell me this?
She doesn't trust you, Sonata, at all.
Whoa, that's a little below the belt, isn't it?
Yeah.
To think she'd be so harsh to a fellow Wonderbolt Reserve.
Calling it harsh does it a disservice, Your Honor, for this was not some petty insult, but a targeted and visceral accusation against the victim's character. It did not stem
it's not
from
a good
place
look at
of
all.
childish malice, but instead of fiendish hatred. Hatred so intense, it could motivate any pony to attempt murder.
Hold on a second. That's quite the reach, Prosecutor Luna.
Is it? Is it really, Blue Phoenix? How ironic. You were so quick to bring up last week's trial in an attempt to console me earlier. Have you already forgotten what happened? How hatred, as tempestuous as it was fickle, stabbed at the heart of the matter, and was its origin?
Whoa. I got chills, dude.
It is not much of a reach when we consider the defendant herself. She has not expressed an ounce of regret or remorse.
Prosecutor Luna, that is only baseless conjecture.
Baseless? Just look at the defendant's face!
Did we establish that faces mean nothing?
I tell you, we need not be augurs observing the hideous encirclements of crows to gain an understanding of the defendant's blackguard heart.
Ooh.
Trust your eyes. See what they tell you.
This is bad. If this keeps up, I'll lose.
Oh god, yeah, you're
Can't let
fighting
that happen.
not just
I
an
can't
uphill
let
battle,
Luna
but a
sow
mudslide
any
is
more
coming
doubt in
down the
Rainbow's
said mountain,
character.
dude.
Or rather, I need to turn the focus away from anything that resembles motive. Let me think.
You gotta pivot
Yes,
somehow.
I can try that. My client's facial disposition aside,
What? Sonata, what the heck are you?
that does not mean that everything in this case has been uncovered.
There are more unanswered questions, you mean?
Yes, Your Honor. And as the latest witness, Captain Spitfire, has yet to be dismissed, I'd like to ask her for answers.
Alright, shoot.
Okay. Got a chance to breathe. Better make the most of it. I want to return to the question of poison. This Grickle grass, where do you suppose it was brewed?
Definitely not on Academy grounds.
Why do you say that?
'Cause it'd be too obvious. There are way too many ponies around, and any pony could have smelled something foul if Rainbow was cooking poison in, say, the kitchen.
I see. What about storage? Were any containers or cylinders missing?
For holding the poison after it was made? No, we didn't find anything like that.
Prosecutor Luna?
Our investigation did not find a witch's cauldron, if that is what the defense is getting at.
That's exactly what I mean. There are no traces of evidence to show that Rainbow had made Gricklegrass on site.
Then forgive me for rushing to the obvious rebuttal, but that just means that the defendant could have made the poison elsewhere. And then brought it to the academy.
Could she have? Captain Spitfire, tell us. Could she have?
No. I can tell you with 100% certainty, she could not have.
And why is that?
And why is that?
Thank you, Will. Or
It's
Judge.
simple, Your Honor. That Gricklegrass, if it really is that uncommon, then no matter how easy it is to make, the materials you need to make it would stand out like an unpreened feather. In other words, if Rainbow brought anything remotely exotic or suspicious looking onto Academy grounds, it would have been confiscated immediately.
Yet contraband of any sort is part and parcel of Academy life. Undoubtedly, there are many ponies who have snuck things into the barracks.
Undoubtedly, sure. But the key point is the level of suspicion the materials for Gricklegrass would raise. A chocolate bar, for instance, while technically contraband, doesn't arouse as much suspicion.
You had to bring that up? Regardless, we didn't confiscate or find anything suspicious either before or after the incident.
Thank you, Captain Spitfire.
Okay, so
Your Honor,
cast
given
a
this
little bit of doubt
information,
here.
the defense argues that no pony knows how my client could have brought the supposed poison into the Academy. Therefore...
Objection!
Oh boy.
Come on, I was just getting warmed up.
Ooh, she looks pretty
So,
sure.
It appears that you have some vivacity left in you, Miss Sonata. Good. If you had been any more laid back in your approach, you'd have fallen over.
Your comment is noted, Prosecutor Luna.
Unfortunately, your terminal rally has led you to a critical oversight. You say that no pony knows how your client could have snuck in poison? That quite simply is not true. For we know some pony who most assuredly does.
You do?
What?
Before we get into that, though, Your Honor, I believe Captain Spitfire has been detained long enough. The prosecution humbly requests she be dismissed from the stand, that she may return to her Wonderbolt duties post-haste.
Yeah. Probably got a bunch of paperwork lording over my desk right about now.
The court grants this request. Witness, you may step down.
So who's this
Now
other
then,
person?
Prosecutor
Or
Luna,
pony?
this other pony, are they to be our next witness?
They are, Your Honor.
Bailiff, bring in the next...
One moment, Your Honor. Unfortunately, you cannot bring them in.
But why not? Normally, witnesses love being brought in to testify.
What?
Honestly, that's one of my favorite parts of the job.
What?
Your Honor, it's basically a roll call. Nothing too special.
Your enthusiasm is laudable, Your Honor. But sadly, while they have been summoned, this witness hasn't arrived yet.
Contempt of
As
court.
such, we would ask for a short recess to wait for them. Unless the defense has any objections.
Who would this extra pony be?
No objections.
Or individual?
I have a feeling
Watch it be like
that even
Discord or
if I
something.
had any,
That'd be funny
she'd
as hell.
squat them down.
How typical, I suppose.
Very well. The court will be given a 15-minute recess while the prosecution prepares their next witness. Court will now adjourn.
I'd better make the most of that time,
Yeah, for real.
because something tells me I'm going to need it.
Yeah, Rainbow Dash is going to kill you, Sonata. You are going to die in that 15 minutes. Pinkie Pie? She has to be involved. Fia has played Trixie. Okay. Good job, Fia. I want to take a look at the musicians, because whoever did the guitar for that one bit, Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was like, here. Okay, hang on. So I'm not sure. Okay. Oh, okay. Jinkro was on this. Okay. I'm hoping the next episode we get to see more of overall concepts case, whether it be like pre-death or post-death. I'd like to see more about that. But I'm so glad we got to see more of this one. Oh, bad. Hold on, is there anything more after this, or? Okay, yeah. No post-credit scene. Okay. Sheesh. Okay, guys. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, and wow. I must say, I think this was probably my favorite episode so far. So much great, like, again, like, I'm gonna sound like a broken record with each one of these, but like, so much stuff was done well, and I just absolutely love what everybody's doing. Voice acting, as always, on point. When Luna was pissed off, holy smokes. Like, I was not, like, expecting that at all, and, like, the goosebumps that, like, went up and down my body, oh my gosh. Dude. Like, and, like, the fact, and, like, so much doubt is being cast onto, like, Rainbow Dash right now, and then the calling Streamline a cheater, like, bro, that's not a good look at all, like, Rainbow Dash is done. She's Drake in this situation, at least as of right now. She's like Drake. It's done. She's cooked. She can't come back. Like, Luna is Kendrick Lamar, and Rainbow Dash is Drake. At least in this particular moment right now. Oh my gosh, dude. I don't know how Sonata's gonna claw out of this. That's something that we're gonna have to wait and see. I'm ready for like when that happens. How are they going to spin this to make sure to cast doubt that Rainbow Dash did this? Like, this is insane. Great job, everybody. Fantastic job. The Wilsonator, it's great hearing you as the judge once again, of course. God, everything about this was fantastic. I don't really have much to say other than fantastic job, everybody. So, with that being said, everyone, thank you so much for watching my dumb face react to Ponies and Attorneys. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on the original video. Link to the video and the channel will be in the description down below. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And yeah, that's really it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I will give updates about like other videos at another time. When that will be, I don't know, but either way, thank you so much for watching my video. Thank you for taking time out of your day. I really appreciate it. That being said, take care of each other, love each other, and I'll see you next video.